Okay, so the things that we are covering, some of the skills that we're covering this week that you might have a question about in your daily language arts assignments. A metaphor, text features, biographies, plural nouns, and cause and effect, and we're going to go over those briefly. And as you get to them in your assignments, you will understand these things a little bit better. So first thing we'll talk about is a metaphor. So we'll go ahead and look at that. So a metaphor is a sentence. It's something, if we're comparing, so say we're comparing, so here let's look at this sentence and you'll see what a metaphor is a little bit better. The ocean at night was a large pool of ink. So what they're doing is they're comparing an ocean looks like a pool of ink. So is an ocean a pool of ink? Of course not. So ink is what they put in pens to write. Of course it is not that. So what they're doing is they're comparing, and a metaphor is used in writing so that you can paint a picture in your mind a little bit better. So the more you can use, and the reason why we're learning this is so that you can use them in your writing, so you can compare things if you're trying to explain something. And remember, the more explanations you can put in your writing, we said it was better to do. So this would be explaining what an ocean is. It's a large pool of ink. So that gives me a beautiful picture in my mind that it was probably very dark. And if you ever look at an ocean at night, it looks black. And if you're seeing in the daytime, it looks more blue, but it looks black, like you would think if your pen spilled out, will look black like an ocean at night. So we would say the ocean was very dark, and that's what they're meaning by that here. Sometimes you have to look at a sentence, and you can explain that just by looking at it and picturing it in your mind. Susan's typing was like a tap dancer performing on stage. Oh my goodness. I don't know, a lot of you have never seen a typewriter, but it does sound, so when you're typing, it does sound like a tap dancer was performing on stage with her little tap dance shoes. And her tap dance shoes makes clicking noises, just like a typewriter. So Susan made up a story about a tap dancer, or Susan made rapid tapping noises. And that would be what that sentence is saying. So, metaphors are really fun to make. They're not comparing two things. They're saying, they're not saying the girl throws like a football player. They're saying the girl is comparing it to something. The girl throws the ball like a football player. So the girl throws far and straight, or the girl throws the ball gently. So a football player would throw it far and straight. And so this is a simile. A simile is very similar to a metaphor, and a simile compares something. We're not looking at similes, and we will later, but a simile uses the word like a lot and compares two things. The girl throws like a football player. A metaphor would be the girl is a football player, and so what they were saying is the girl is very strong and probably throws much like a football player. And so those are the differences between the two. Here's a metaphor. Dad's company is a well-oiled machine. So they're saying Dad's company is, not like. So this would be a metaphor. But similes and metaphors, they're both just ways of describing, explaining things better. Putting a picture in your mind of what that looks like. Is a well-oiled machine. Dad's company runs smoothly, or Dad's company is greasy. A well-oiled machine. When a machine is well-oiled, it works well. It works smoothly and fast, and so that's what that would be comparing it to. All right, I don't want to do a simile, but this is a simile. Adam's new toy boat sank like a stone in the pond. It's still explaining something. This toy boat sank really quickly is kind of what that's saying. this is another simile. So again, you'll be trying to describe a metaphor in this week's work. Okay. All right. We went over text features, and you'll be working on text features a lot this year. And remember, text feature is just anything that the author is using to give you more information. It could be pictures, it could be illustrations, same thing. It could be tables and charts, it could be maps and graphs, it could be index glossary, or even here where words are in dark print, or there's bullets, or titles or subtitles or diagrams or timelines. So anything that gives you more information that's usually not part of the article that is being read. And that usually gives you more information or that's not in the article. So you'll be working on that again. Another thing you'll be working on is biography. And a biography is a type of writing, just like fiction, nonfiction. You guys probably heard those words before. Fiction is like fake, not real. Nonfiction would be factual reading. And a biography tells about a person's life. So you'll be working on that this week. So a true story about a person's life. So if you were to write about yourself, that would be a biography. Or if I were to write an article about me or a book, that would be a biography. So that's a simple new vocabulary word if you have not heard that. All right, the next thing you'll be working on are plural nouns if you have never heard of a plural noun. So what a plural noun is just more than one of a noun. So a noun is a person, place, or thing, and ends in S, ES, or IES. So worm would be worms, and so it means more than one. So plural noun. Sixes. Here they're just adding. So ES would make six, more than one, six. Address plus ES would be addresses, would be more than one address. So it would be, the addresses of my students. So it means more than one. You'll be working on that. Straws, here you're just adding S. So again, when you are talking about more than one, sometimes the spelling is going to be different. So you might add an S, ES, or IES, and depending on the word. So that's a pretty easy skill you're working on, but you need to know what a plural noun is. Okay, and then our last skill would be cause and effect. Okay, so cause and effect. So basically it's because this happened, the effect is that this happened. So let's just take a look at these sentences down here. Number 1, David wrote all over his desk. So he had to stay after school to clean it. So the cause is David wrote all over his desk. So because he wrote all over his desk, the effect was he had to stay after school to clean it. Cause, effect. The teacher told David to keep his hands to himself. So because he did not keep his hands to himself, he was about to paint one of his classmates. Oh, because he was about to paint one of his classmates, that's the cause. The teacher told him to keep his hands to himself. So it's not, cause is not always at the beginning. So I had to take a look at that sentence and think about that. Because he was going to paint one of his classmates, not a good thing, the teacher told David to keep his hands to himself. So because this is the cause, and this first part is the effect. Let's read number 3. Since David was standing in front of the class making faces, the teacher told him to sit down. So here, the cause is at the beginning. Since David was standing in front of the class making faces, the effect was the teacher told him to sit down. Cause, effect. So think about, you can use the word because. Because this happened, this happened. That would be because this happened, the effect was this happened. So you can use the word because in front of it. If you can't use the word because in front of it, then it would be the effect. So that's what happened here on number 2. It's not because it's not because the teacher told David to keep his hands to himself. It was because he was about to paint one of his classmates. The teacher told him, this was the effect, told David to keep his hands to himself. So you have to think about that. You'll be writing cause and effect, things from the stories that you read this week. Because this happened, this happened. Because this happened, this happened. You might take some thought, but it's very easy if you use the word because in front of it. Then you know what the cause is and what the effect will be. And those pretty much covers all the skills for this week. And you can listen to this as many times as you want if you have questions. All right, have a happy day. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.